Hi there, I'm Mike Gales for Everlast Nutrition, and I often get asked which diet is the best one to follow to lose weight. So I wanted to edit and splice together 4 videos that we shot last year into this one shorter video, and I'll leave a link in the description below to the old videos. But here is the shorter version, the truth about weight loss.
The reason why weight loss seems to be so mysterious is because if you ask 10 different experts, you get 10 different answers. This one tells you not to eat carbs, this one tells you when you should eat, this one tells you you should only eat soup, this one tells you to eat only every second day. They can't all be right, can they? So what I'm going to show you over the next few videos is a proof of concept and show you what all of these diets have in common. And that proof of concept is going to be the first law of thermodynamics. The first law basically says that energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only change forms. All of the energy that you have in you right now actually comes from the sun. Plants have captured that energy via photosynthesis, and then you either ate a plant or ate an animal that ate the plant. When you consume food, your body will use whatever energy that it needs, and then it will store any extra remaining energy as body fat. So you could think of all that body fat as just stored energy. In order to start losing body fat, you're going to have to change the thermodynamic equation. That means that I'm going to start wanting to burn more calories than I consume. Now forget about scales and pictures with Photoshop that can be manipulated. I'm going to show you a live video of myself today, April 8th, and another video of myself 7 days from now. And I'm going to prove this video by holding up a newspaper of today's date, April 8th, and you'll be able to check the publication link at the bottom of the YouTube video. Now the reason I switched to the black background is to give you a bit better contrast. And in full disclosure, I knew I was going to do this video this week, so I really overindulged on Easter weekend. But the concept will still be the same. So just make notice of the muscle definition, especially around the midsection, and hopefully within 7 days, I'll be able to show you a real contrasting difference. So here's the newspaper, and as you'll see in a moment, the date is April the 8th. Now I'm going to weigh myself in the exact same clothes, but this is just as a frame of reference. Pay no attention to the weight because that's always easily manipulated. Now my whole point of doing this over the next 7 days is to show you that every successful diet is based on this concept of the first law of thermodynamics. And that is going to be how much energy you consume versus how much energy you expend. And that was true in 1715 and it's also true in 2015. Now the diet that I'm going to follow is going to be based on one simple idea, and that is energy density. That is to say that certain foods take up more volume for the amount of calories that they have. For example, both of these items here may be about 40 to 50 calories, but you can see that the chocolate takes up nowhere near the amount of volume as the green vegetable. So as a proof of concept, I'm going to show you over the next 7 days exactly what I eat, how I made it, and when I went to the gym. And what I want you to focus on is not the weight, because that could be manipulated, I could dehydrate myself, but we're going to focus on the definition and the amount of actual fat loss that will occur over these 7 days.
Now in full disclosure, I usually don't eat meat, but for the sake of this video, I wanted to put together a diet that the average person could probably stick to.
Now the main concept here is I've chosen foods that are not energy dense. That means that they're going to take up a lot of volume for the amount of calories that they have. That will make you feel satisfied for a little bit longer period of time without loading up on all the calories. First off, the biggest tip I can give to everybody is that I'm going to switch almost everything that I drink to water. The only thing that I'm going to drink that's not water is the cup of coffee that I'm going to have in the morning to start off the day, and the protein shake that I'm going to have mixed with water after I go to the gym. For some more protein, I'm going to add some chicken to my salads at night. So here is a bunch of chicken breasts that I'm going to pre-cook to make sure that I have my chicken ready for the week. For some extra protein during the week, I'm going to use some eggs, and I'm usually going to scramble them. When I have my coffee in the morning, I'm going to use a creamer, but you could use 1 sugar, 1 milk, and you'll be fine. For breakfast in the morning, I'm going to have either some English muffins that are 130 calories each, with some low sugar jam, or a bowl of Honey Nut O's, but instead of using milk, I'm going to add a scoop of the protein with some water. For my morning cereal, here I have everything ready to go. I got my Honey Nut O's, the protein, and for this one I'm going to chop up 4 strawberries. I'm going to add about 2 cups of Honey Nut O's, which is going to come to about 300 calories. And I'm also going to add a scoop of protein to that. By adding protein instead of milk, I'm getting a full 22 grams of protein for only 110 calories. In fact, this total bowl of cereal may come in somewhere around 450 calories. I'm going to add some cold water that I had from the fridge. Now add as much water as you normally would milk. Now I'm just going to use my spoon to stir the whole thing up. Now make note that I'm not cutting out carbs out of this diet. In fact, I'm starting the day off with carbs so I have energy to power through the day. Now here it is, your final product, a bowl of Honey Nut Oats fortified with some protein and some strawberries added for flavor. Now during the day, I'm going to either snack on an apple, a banana, some cut strawberries, or some fresh vegetables with some salsa sauce. And the reason why I'll add the salsa sauce, one is because I like it, and two is because it's only 10 calories per serving. Next up, if I'm hungry for a snack, I'm going to add some yogurt to this diet. This yogurt here specifically is 40 calories per serving. So even if I ate this whole container, it's still going to be under 300 calories. If I'm really hungry for a snack, I'm going to take the same yogurt, add some chopped up strawberries, and half a scoop of protein to add to its thickness. Sometimes in the afternoon, I might opt for an English muffin with some scrambled eggs, topped off with some salsa sauce. Now in the evening for dinner is when you're probably going to feel your hungriest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a whole head of lettuce and chop that up. To it, I'm going to add a whole chicken breast and as many vegetables as I could stuff in there. Alright, so here you're going to see that I cooked up enough chicken for the next 5 days. Now what I'm going to do now is keep that in a Tupperware bowl in the fridge so that I'll have it when I need it. This is crucial because if I don't have the ingredients that I need, chances are that I'm going to stray from this diet. So I'm going to slice up the chicken into tiny little pieces. Then I'm going to use a whole head of romaine lettuce. Slice up the whole thing. You can slice or dice whatever you like. Cucumbers, zucchini, it's up to you. Then I'm going to take some carrots and slice them up into little chunks. Then I'm going to use just a few heads of broccoli and slice those up as well. Finally, I'm going to slice up a tomato. You can dice them, slice them, whatever you like, or you can knit them all together. It's completely up to you. Then I'm going to add a little bit of low-fat salad dressing and mix the whole thing up into this monster salad bowl. Now this salad is huge. Chances are I won't even be able to eat the whole thing in one sitting, so I might have a little bit later on in the evening as well. To ensure that I'm not going to be missing any vitamins and minerals during this diet, I'm going to take a daily multivitamin along with a daily dose of omega-3. A calorie is just a measurement of energy, and the one that you used to sing on food labels refers to how much energy it would take to raise 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Now just so you know, it would take 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound of fat, or 7,700 calories to burn around a kilogram of fat. And one more thing to note is that carbs have 4 calories per gram, but protein also has 4 calories per gram, and fat has about 9. Now while we're on the subject of energy, each of us has a certain amount of energy that is required for us to sustain life. Before you have even begun to move or exercise, your body requires a certain amount of energy just for it to sustain its tissues and its organs. That basic minimal amount of energy is known as your basal metabolic rate. You can sort of think of that as the basic amount of energy that's going to take just to keep you alive. In my case, I'm no longer a spring chicken. I'm almost 39 years old. And according to the calculations, my basal metabolic rate is somewhere around 1,900 calories per day. Then you will also be moving around, digesting food, and doing some other stuff, and that will also raise your metabolism. I have more muscle mass than the average person, and through trial and error, I know my own personal metabolic rate is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,900 calories per day.
Before we get into the specifics, remember that the first law of thermodynamics says that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only change forms. I'm going to prove to you that the laws of physics not only apply to the rest of the entire universe, but to the fitness and weight loss industry as well. What I'm going to do is change my own personal thermodynamic equation by simply decreasing my energy consumption and increasing my energy expenditure. Sounds kind of simple, doesn't it? But that's the whole idea. So let's go over day by day what I did. Now, if you're interested, you could always click on the link in the description below to the original 3rd video, where everything that I did is displayed in more detail. That gives us a grand total caloric deficit of the week of 13,840 calories. Remember now, it takes 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound of body fat. So we take that 13,840 and divide that by 3,500, and that gives us 3.95. So I should expect to drop about 4 pounds of pure body fat. Let's take a look at the beginning of the week and what I look like 7 days later. So here's just a quick reminder of April the 8th. So this was the video that we saw on the first day with the black background for contrast. Now once again, I want to emphasize that I specifically overate to gain weight for this video.
And a lot of people have no problem believing that if I ate extra calories, I would gain weight. But for some reason, they don't believe that if I cut calories, I'll lose weight, which is kind of strange. So just focus on the muscle definition and we'll hopefully see a difference. And here is the scale on April the 8th. Now I will be weighing myself in the exact same clothes so there's no discrepancy, with the exact same scale, and this is 212.4 pounds. So finally here we are 7 days later, April 15th, 8 a.m., the reveal. Now I'll be weighing myself on an empty stomach and you'll see in a moment that'll make a difference. So right away you can see that I've dropped weight. There's more definition around the midsection, the chest, and just make note that a person drops weight everywhere, not just from one specific spot. And you can see from the side view that the stomach is definitely a lot less distended. And that's a big part because I'm no longer holding a bunch of extra food. Now for all the skeptics out there, and to show you that there was no hocus pocus, I'm just going to show you a quick clip that these videos were posted both on Facebook and on YouTube on April 15th. And unless I was good friends with Mark Zuckerberg, I have no control over the publication dates of the videos. So here's the scale now on April 15th. And remember, we're going for fat loss, not necessarily for the weight on the scale. This is just for reference. So let's take a look. And we'll zoom right up, same clothes. And wow, 195.6 pounds. That seems crazy. That's like 17 pounds in 1 week. Now the first thing to note is that I did not lose 16 pounds. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say this diet is magnificent. The math will tell you that I lost about 4 pounds of pure body fat. And why I'm telling you this is so that you don't get deceived. You're going to see a lot of commercials telling you to drop 10 pounds in 10 days or 5 pounds in 5 days or whatever the case may be. But that's not going to be actual fat loss. When somebody drops weight in the beginning, a lot of that was just residual food and extra water that they were carrying that was just purged from their system. That's the same sort of principle when someone does a cleanse. They're not really dropping any body fat. They're just dropping extra weight by getting rid of some residual food and water. So why did my diet work? I'm no wizard or magician, but my body is a great mathematician. And the whole point of all of this was to show you that it was all about the math. It always came down to how much energy I was consuming versus how much energy I was burning. And to drop weight during the week, I just ended up burning a little more and consuming a little less. Now, I'm not going to try and convince you of anything, but do yourself a favor and just say it out loud and see what makes sense to you. Either option A, I'm a total anomaly and freak of nature and this just miraculously happened, or option B, the diet worked because every successful diet is based on this first law of thermodynamics and how much energy you burn versus how much energy you consume. Which one sounds more plausible? Every year you're going to find that a new diet comes along or some new method of losing weight, and then 6 months to a year from then, you never hear from it again. And the reason why is that if it wasn't based on this first law of thermodynamics, it probably didn't really work. Another point I want to bring up is that a lot of people demonize carbs. But you'll notice that I ate carbs in this diet and yet I still lost weight. And if carbs were really the devil, then I wouldn't have been able to do that. And the one thing that I need you to note is that I could have done a diet of pure chocolate and still dropped weight if I was eating just the right amount of it. If I kept that right thermodynamic equation of burning versus consuming, even if it was pure chocolate, I still would have lost weight. So to wrap this up, the real truth about weight loss is there is no one secret exercise or one magic pill that you can take that's just going to melt everything away. The real truth that nobody wants to hear is it really always comes back down to the math. And once you realize that it's not all that mysterious, you can start to use that math to work in your favor. Now, I don't recommend doing anything as drastic as I did. I was doing that just to prove a concept that the math actually does work. I wouldn't cut more than 500 calories a day out of your diet. What I would recommend is that you cut out calories wherever you can. And a big thing you can do is start switching most of your drinks to water. You also want to ensure that you have enough protein in your diet so that you don't lose muscle mass, because in the long run that's going to have a negative effect on your metabolism, making it much harder for you to keep the weight off. Another concept I would focus on is that concept of energy density, and that's choosing foods that you like. It doesn't have to be the foods that I chose, but foods that you like that take up a certain amount of volume that do not have a huge amount of calories. And when you're on a diet, this is paramount. It is so important that you choose foods that you like, because the only successful diet that you are ever going to follow is going to be the diet that you can actually stick to.
Now, the reason why I did this video and the reason why people find weight loss to be so difficult is that they are often deceived by people pushing their own agenda. Now, of course, there will be factors such as how the human body absorbs certain foods or how it stores them as energy, but those factors are insignificant to the overall trend of thermodynamics. The math of how much you consume versus how much you burn is the real key to true weight loss. Once people realize that they, like the rest of the universe, are bound to the laws of physics, then they can manipulate that math to achieve the results that they always wanted. This has been Mike Gales for Everlast Nutrition, and if you like these videos, then please click below to like or subscribe, as we're constantly posting up great tips and new ideas that are meant to get you into the absolute greatest shape possible.